First of all, good morning. How are you doing today? All good? Yes, everybody alive, in good mood? Good. So, I'll be quick and I'll hand it to Dennis, okay? First of all, questions about yesterday. Anything, shoot, fire, now. You only have this chance. I don't care. Nothing, you're good. Technique, remember the cues, remember everything. Client feels pain, what do you do? Very good. Okay? What is the definition of periodization? Exactly. The first part is important because if you don't do it strategically and with logical sequencing, you don't get anywhere. Okay? There's one thing that I actually forgot to mention yesterday. I will mention right now because Dennis will speak about it and you have to understand. It's called phase potentiation. Okay? Remember what we spoke about yesterday when I mentioned to you post-activation potentiation. There's one thing named phase potentiation means one phase of the training potentiates the results of the next one. So if you don't manipulate your strategy logically with logical sequencing, you won't have these effects. Okay? For example, there was a research done by Brazilian researchers some time ago, and they put two groups. So group 1 trained for hypertrophy only. And this group, said group 1, we made a 0 there. Group 2 trained for strength for 3 weeks. Okay, here it was 8 weeks, sorry. 8 weeks. Here they trained strength 3 weeks and hypertrophy 5 weeks. Guess who grew more muscle? Phase potentiation. They were stronger. So they were able to lift more weights for higher rep ranges. That's why strength training is important. Want to know one thing? I do this shit since I came to Estonia. I was called crazy in Pärnu many times. It's logical. It's fucking logical. If you can lift more weight for 1 rep, most likely you can lift more weight for 10 reps. Okay? Some things we trainers, we don't need science to tell us. We have to be able to understand that. Why do you think a bodybuilder is bigger than most people? Simple when you think about it. They lift much more weight for much more reps. So if you're lifting more weight for more reps today, chances are you're bigger than yesterday or than 1 year ago. When I look at my own training videos, I'm double the size that I was 3 years ago. I'm lifting double the weights as well. It's not a coincidence. Okay? So this is called phase potentiation. That's why it's important for us to have the logical sequencing of phases in our training and logical sequencing during the training as well. If you take an athlete and they need speed, but they need also strength, what you're gonna do is you train in the training strength first or speed first? Speed, always. Do you know why? If you train for speed, you're gonna train at light loads. Power is done with 30 to 40% of your 1 rep max, very fast. You can do this and still do a 1 rep max bench press after. Okay, I'm exaggerating. I'm not gonna do that, but you can still do a 1 rep max. If you do a 1 rep max, your speed will be affected. If you do a 1 rep max squat, can you go for 100 meters dash as fast as you can? Most likely no. Although there are ways to do post-activation potentiation like this. I did it a lot when I was a volleyball player. We went to the gym, we had our court, you know, the gym was very close to the court. So you go to the gym, warm up doing squats, 2 sets of 2 reps, sub-maximal, not maximal, but heavy, like 90%. Rest, 5 minutes, again, go to play. Your activating motor units can be done. Works the same way as this one that I introduced yesterday, holding the weight for 7 seconds. Can be up to 15 seconds even. You hold the weight, or you hold the weight. Unrack, much heavier than what you lift and hold, you know? What is phase 1 of our periodization model? Learn to move. Phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5. Where do those 5 phases come from? The 3-step, remember? From Tudor Bompa, accumulation, and yes. Okay, so we just took those 3 steps, broke it into 5 to make it easier to understand. If you say accumulation, what is accumulation in our 5-step model? Steps 1, 2, 3. Learn to move, build work capacity, hypertrophy. That's all accumulation. If you look at the notes that I gave you, you'll see. Learn to move, you have very little volume, very little effort. Phase 2, you have a bit more volume, a bit more effort. Phase 3, what's the biggest difference from hypertrophy to build work capacity? Sorry? Yes. Okay, effort. You can just resume everything to effort. Okay, that's the biggest difference. So, what are you doing here? You are accumulating work. The name says everything. Learn to move, build work capacity, hypertrophy, you're accumulating. So that's accumulation. Okay, strength, transformation. And then peaking, remember, you're realizing how capable you are, realization. Any of those ways that you go is correct. You just have to understand that the 5 steps made to make it easier for you to remember what to do. If the person is learning how to move, you know already. 2 sets, 8 reps, deadlifts, just 3 to 5 till technical breakdown, low effort, that's it. Low frequency, so on and so forth. It's easy to remember. Then if you just do accumulation, okay, where do I start from? All right. Intermediates, advanced, do they have to learn to move again? Where do they start from? Restart from. You got to the peaking phase. Where do you go back to? Build work capacity, yes? Okay. So you have phase 2, 3, 4, 5. Eita. 5. So build work capacity, right? Hypertrophy, strength, and peaking. If you get to the peaking phase, remember, you don't have to do it with your regular clients. But if you get to the peaking phase, what's going to happen here? I mentioned yesterday, happens very fast. This is a tapering phase or a deload phase, peaking. It's the same shit. Okay? What happens also here? You're peaking, but you're also detraining. Okay? If you're detraining, what do you have to do after detraining? Let me make it simpler for you. If you're building a house and you break down one wall, what do you have to do with that wall? Rebuild it. Boom. Easy money. 2 analogies that I like to use. It's like studying. It's like building a house. Easy. If you break down, rebuild it. Okay? So that's what you have to do. After you peak, go back to building up the wall again. So, anyways, I'm tired of working. I'll let Dennis do the work now.